Today's lesson is about delta formula or formula for quadratic equations. The thing is, not every quadratic equation is factorable. For example, if you look at x squared plus x minus 1 equals 0, no matter how hard you try, you cannot factor this quadratic equation. It means you cannot write it as the product of two linear equations with the integral coefficients. This is why if you want to solve this equation, you need to have another method that I'm going to talk about in this lesson. First of all, the general form of quadratic equations is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Delta is defined to be b squared minus 4ac. And then once you get delta, you can insert it here to get the solutions. Let me give you an example. Let's try to solve this equation that I made it yellow, and I mentioned that this equation is not factorable. If you compare this with this general form, it's easy to see that a equals 1, b also equals 1, and c equals negative 1. Therefore, I'm going to set up delta, which is b squared minus 4ac. By doing math, it'll come to 5. Now that you have delta, let's figure out what dx is. So according to this formula, x equals negative b, which is negative 1, plus or minus square root of delta, which is 5, over 2 times a, which is 2. Therefore, there are two solutions. One of them, let's say x1, negative 1 minus square root of 5 over 2, and x2 equals negative 1 plus square root of 5 over 2. I'm going to give you another example. Let's say 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. So in this example, a equals 4, b equals negative 4, and c equals 1. Therefore, delta is going to be b squared, which is 16, minus 4 times a times c. So 16 minus 16 equals 0. Therefore, delta is 0. And then I'm going to use the formula for x. X equals negative b, which is 4, plus or minus square root of 0 over 2a, which is 8. Therefore, the final answer would be 4 over 8, which is 1/2. So since delta equals 0, we have one single solution. The third example is x squared plus 3x plus 7 equals 0. So a equals 1, b equals 3, c equals 7. Therefore, delta is going to be b squared, which is 9 minus 4 times a times c. So it's 9 minus 28. Obviously, it's a negative number, right? So when delta is negative, as you know, the square root of negative numbers is undefined. Therefore, x is going to be negative b plus or minus square root of a negative number over 2a, which is 2. So this expression is undefined. Therefore, in this case, the equation has no solution. So therefore, we can summarize everything here. So there are three cases. Case number one, if delta is larger than 0, we always have two distinct solutions. It means different solutions. If delta equals 0, there will be one solution only. Some books, they call this double solution. And if delta is less than 0, there will be no solution. Delta formula is stronger than factorization because factorization works for some equations, not all. But delta formula is the general form of getting the solutions. So it doesn't matter it's factorable or not. Delta always can solve the equation for us and never fails. Also, delta formula tells us if we have one solution, two solutions, or no solution. So yeah, this short video is about delta then, and try to memorize delta formula because this is one of the most important formulas in high school. Therefore, you better memorize this formula. So I'm going to give you one more example and then we'll finish the lessons, today's lesson. The next question says, for what values of m x squared plus 3x plus m equals 0 has no solution? We already discussed that in order to have no solution, delta has to be a negative number. Therefore, let's set up delta. First, a equals 1, b equals 3, and c equals m. Therefore, delta is going to be b squared minus 4ac. B squared is 9 minus 4 times a times c, which is m. So it has to be less than 0. So now let's simplify more. Let's move 4m over and then divide both sides by 4 to get 9 over 4 less than m. So if you want this equation not to have any solutions, m has to be larger than 9 over 4. Thank you for watching, and next lesson will be about quadratic equations, like more complex equations that we might face, and we need to know how to solve them as well. Okay, see you soon.